All right, here we are. We are live. It says you are live. All right. Welcome to the Huddle. It's me, Coach Muddle, and Nevada Nick in the house. Uh, Coach Billy and Professor Keith
On the milk
are,
carton.
yeah, they're on a milk carton right now. So we'll see how those guys turn up or not.
Yeah, I was
But
on the milk carton for a while too. So
yeah, you got the contract worked out and everything.
yeah,
So, we're good. So I listen before we get into football. I let's talk about your Sixers
yeah,
and what a crap in the bed. Is that the best term for
yeah. I
crap in the
mean,
bed?
um, so when the series started, I never got because I said that we always lose to the Celtics. So I had said obviously I thought they were going to lose, and then they won Game 5, got up 3-2, and of course, the Philadelphia fan I am, I went in hook, line, and sinker. We could win the title. You know what I mean? It's open this year. It would be great. Jokic versus Embiid. And, I went in hook, line, and sinker. And, man, just look, game 6, I thought obviously they had the lead, but just no excuse for the play in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Sixers alone were outscored by Tatum. And I have so many problems with everything. First of all, coach, and look, I know everybody says I bitch about the refs all the time, and maybe I do, but the officiating in the league's horrible. So I was really pissed off about the officiating. And people don't understand, too. Like you say, oh, well, they lost by 10. But it's like, no, sometimes, coach, those momentum swings, they stop.
Yes.
That's huge. Momentum, coach, in football, in basketball, all sports. It's huge, especially when you're at home. And they came out with a report, and Doc brought it up before Game 7. It was 13 missed calls for the Sixers, 4 for the Celtics. I mean, you're supposed to get home calls, you thought. So, obviously, I was pissed off about that. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the Sixers weren't a championship team. Because you win in the fourth quarter, and they don't have a guy that can win in the fourth quarter. I mean, I love Embiid, but as a center coach, it's really hard. It's a guards league now because, he can get double teamed easily, and, he just can't get it done in the fourth quarter. And they don't have a guy that game in, game out that you can count on. Harden's, here and there, obviously he's older. And, Maxey, he's, look, he's young, he's really good. The future's bright, but I don't think he's there yet as like your go-to guy in the fourth quarter, game in, game out.
Right. I agree. And I honestly, I feel like MB, like he won the MVP and was, that was it. Like put your feet up on the desk. I accomplished it and I'm done.
I don't believe that. I think he might have been hurt a little bit more than they led on to. And look, but no, there's no excuse for game 6 and 7. There isn't. And Angelo, spot on. And look, of all sports, NBA by far is the worst in officiating. I mean, some of the foul calls anymore. I don't know how you play defense. I mean, these guys will have their hands straight up in the air. The player runs into him, and it's a foul. I mean, Tatum gets away with it all the time. He'll just run into you as fast as he can, and he initiates the contact, and it's a foul on you. I mean, it's just it's a disgrace. And, like, that's why, like they say with LeBron, too, when you do the GOAT, him or Jordan, it's like, look what Jordan had to play against in the 80s and 90s. I mean, the Pistons were killing him. I mean, nowadays, if you fart around a player, it's a technical foul.
Yeah, right.
It's just really tough to watch. And, look, I get you want points, you want fans to watch. But you know what? Who wants to watch that, though, where it's whistle after whistle, free throw line. People want to see tough defense. I mean, and like make it fair. Because if you look, especially in basketball and football, I mean, man, it's tough to play defense nowadays. It really is.
I agree with that because I mean, go back to the 80s, 90s. I mean, when you played defense and games were it was a novelty to score 90 points was like, oh my God, they scored 90 points.
Yeah.
Now it's like, man, if you score 120 is like, okay, no big deal.
We're saying about the Heat's offense was bad because it only averaged 109 points. I mean, you're the most prolific offense in basketball if that's in 1990.
Right.
You're unbelievable. You're the Showtime Lakers times 2.
Right.
It's crazy. And another thing I like too, Coach, and it makes no sense to me, is why they don't reseed in the second round. Because Boston and Philly shouldn't have played. It should have been Philly versus the Knicks and Boston versus
The Heat.
the Heat. And who knows what would happen. Look, I don't think the Sixers were going to beat the Heat. I don't think the Sixers are going to beat the Nuggets. They just have too many holes right now. And you want to point the finger. And look, Doc was horrible. He just doesn't make adjustments. That's another guy. I remember one time he just kept going, like speed it up, pick up
Right.
the pace. And it's like, dude, can't you call a timeout and change it around, switch the lineups up? I mean, do something. You know what I mean? Like, do anything, get pissed off at a ref, get kicked out of the game, do something. And so he was an issue. But when you look at the Sixers, it's an issue top to bottom, organizationally. And honestly, I really feel that the biggest thing you can point at is the front office. I mean, you look, we traded away Butler, and kept Simmons, which mistake number one. If we have Butler and get rid of Simmons, and realize too, Coach, if you get rid of Simmons there, that's when he was at the top of his game.
Right.
Where
you got real pieces.
And you could have got really good pieces because you needed Butler. Butler's the guy, and he was fine not getting the ball till the fourth quarter. But he's the guy you needed. That's what they needed. And you get rid of him and keep Simmons, and Simmons is just aloof now. Then you trade Mikal Bridges, whose mother worked for the team, for a guy who's not even in the league anymore. I mean, that's a huge mistake. And then obviously you draft Fultz over Tatum. And, it's just mistake after mistake after mistake. And if you get one of those three, maybe, obviously I think if you get Butler, they win a title. I think if you get Tatum, they win a title. And Bridges, they definitely are a little bit better because he's a really good 3-and-D guy.
Well, and you wouldn't have the Magic on your team.
Yeah.
The magician. I mean, let's face it, James Harden disappears in big games. I mean, he's been doing it his whole career.
Yeah.
And everybody kept saying, oh, he needs other pieces. Well, come on. You had the league MVP with you and you couldn't put pieces together.
And he made 2 big shots for the Sixers. But, look, it too, Coach. What you do when the series gets wiped out in Game 6 and 7, that's when you need to play. Nobody's talking about the shot James Harden made to, win a game in the series now because they lost. You got to play in the big times, and that's what it's about. And honestly, that's been the Sixers' biggest problem, and it comes up every playoff. Embiid seems like he's a little nicked up, and they just can't close games out in the fourth quarter, and it's something they really need to address. And, everybody thinks, blow it up, trade Embiid. You're never going to get the value back for Embiid. You got to keep Embiid. To me, you got to figure it out. Look, Harris has got an expiring contract. He's on his last year next year, Coach. So that's a chip teams will take, to free up some cap space. And then you got to figure out what happens with Harden. Maybe you can get a flop fest. Yeah, it is. But, maybe you can trade Harden somewhere. There's talk he wants to go to the Rockets. I don't know. And I'm sure he's going to want as much money as possible. So maybe, because obviously the most money he's going to be able to get is in Philadelphia. Right. So, but they got to get creative. But look, you still got Maxey and Embiid. And one thing you want to hope for is obviously Maxey getting better and Maxey really improving, and maybe in the next year or two becoming, a franchise type player. I mean, and look, you got Embiid, but look, the window's closing. Like Embiid's 29. You don't see many 33, 34-year-old centers. Their window to me is 2 or 3 years. Right. So, and it's closing, and we keep saying it every year, and eventually you're going to get to a point, and it's going to be like, man, we couldn't get past the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, hell, I'm excited. The Knicks, I mean, I thought the Knicks should have played a better series against the Heat, but
Heat are a juggernaut right now, Coach.
But they're a juggernaut. They are, but hey, and look, maybe we could send Julius Randle down to Philly.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not getting Embiid.
But no, we don't need Embiid. We don't need Embiid, but Julius Randle and we need to get rid of him. I think he's just an anchor on that team right now. Yeah. He's just holding that team back.
Well, one thing I think a lot of people would like to say it. LeBron I wonder if LeBron wants out of LA. He kind of said some things, and I mean, he looked great in MSG, and the Knicks, they've tried a couple times to position to get him, and it just didn't work out. Because I think that would be such a huge story and great for the Knicks. Because look, I was a huge Knicks fan when Starks and Ewing. They were my favorite team in the '90s. I was a big Pat Riley guy. I loved Georgetown, loved Ewing, I mean, you know it too, Coach. Basketball's better when the Knicks are good. Simple as that.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, there's nothing like
So,
going into MSG and you got, Spike sitting there and I mean, all the celebrities. It's
Aaron
kind of
Rodgers now
like,
going to games. I mean,
did you see that hit him walking in to practice in the wife beater the one time with the long hair? You see that video or no?
no, I didn't.
Oh, you gotta look it up, man. It's funny.
Uh,
It's funny. And look, I'm just calling it the wife beater, not like I don't want people to get the wrong idea here.
Ray, look. So listen, it's typical Jets. I mean, Aaron Rodgers pulled a hamstring or calf muscle walking to practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
I mean,
look,
typical Jets.
yeah. But, now too, obviously the Nuggets are in the finals. Um, look, the Heat, this is a big game 5, Coach, because if they lose game 5 and it's in Boston, to me, the pressure shifts to the Heat.
Yeah,
Because you're going home for game 6 and you got to take that game. You don't want to go play game 7
right.
in
You
Boston.
you don't want to go 7 in Boston Garden,
Right, where they've won 3 straight and it's not good. I mean, look at the Sixers in game 7. I mean, that was a disgrace. I mean, it was just embarrassing. They were never in it.
Yeah. Sup, Sammy? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Sammy?
But
I think this is going to be the Nuggets anyway. I think Nuggets are going to win it all.
I kind of agree with you. I think you're right with that. Now, tell me, what do you think? What do you think of the schedule that came out last week? And what are your thoughts?
Well, for the Eagles, the one thing I do like is kind of like last year, it really sets up for them to get off to a good start, which is always important, Coach. You know how it is. I don't know, you know how it is. When you hate getting to the end of the year and you got the string of must-win games because it'll tire you out down the stretch, Coach. You know what I mean?
You're right.
And it can wear down on you. It puts a lot of pressure on you. But, you look at the Eagles, you open up at New England. I still think that's a very winnable game for the Eagles. I think they should win it. I mean, look, it's the NFL. You never know. And then they go.
Well, they aren't they retiring Tom Brady's jersey or Tom Brady Day that day or something?
Unless Tom Brady's playing quarterback, Coach, I don't give a shit. The Eagles will still win. Yeah. I'm not. That's a different New England team, Coach. You know how it is. Like
you're right. You're right. Absolutely.
New England with Brady, but since Brady's been gone, that's not New England of old. And like I respect Belichick and all, but a lot of things have gone on with him too that are questionable. And I really wonder if they don't make the playoffs this year, if Kraft doesn't think about either going in and saying, look, you got another year, or he doesn't maybe even fire him then, because the one thing that really with him is horrible is just the offensive coordinator position who's now
it's in a revolving door, but he did bring back
bringing Patricia to be your offensive coordinator, Coach.
Yeah,
it's like when Andy put Juan Castillo as defensive coordinator because he was an offensive line coach. It's just you don't try shit like that in the NFL. You know what I
mean? I agree 100% with that. I know there was a lot of rumblings, and listen, Bill brought back the other Bill. I can't think of his last name, but was the offense coordinator for Alabama. So you have Mac Jones's offense coordinator in college now in the league with him. So I think you're going to see some normalcy with that offense this year. I'm not saying they're going to be back on track, but I think you'll see some normalcy there.
But so again, back to the Eagles. So you open up with the Patriots, which I think is a very winnable game. Then week 2, the Eagles are going to be home on a Thursday night game. So you're going to have the Vikings on a short week coming to Philadelphia. I think that's another winnable game. I think they should be 2-0. Then they go out to Tampa week 3. I think that's another winnable game. 3-0 possibly. Then they get the Commanders at home and then Rams on the road. So I really see where it's very possible the Eagles start off 4-1 or 5-0. Now, after that stretch, though, Coach, it gets pretty tough. I mean, you look at the Eagles' schedule last year, and then, this year, it's just like, it's unbelievable. I mean, so then they go play at the Jets, Dolphins at home. So, 2 teams that everybody think is, very likely playoff teams or at least playoff contenders.
Right.
Okay. Then you go to the Commanders, but then this is where the stretch really starts. But even there, you got 2 or 3 very good teams. They go on, and then you're on the road at an NFC East opponent. So it's still a tough game. Then you got the Cowboys at home, playoff team for last year, on the road at the Chiefs in the Super Bowl rematch. The Bills at home.
And hold on, that's what like why isn't that week 1 like it is every year?
I thought so too. I think too. I mean, look, it's good for the Lions, but I don't know if they're trying to get the Lions some juice or something. I don't know what it is, but to me,
But I feel like the Lions right now are. Remember a couple of years ago we said Cleveland, they're a quarterback away, they're Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah,
they got all that hype and crap the bed. I feel like Detroit's in that same boat right now.
Well, you know what we said about them, Coach, and this is more where I lead. Although I think Detroit's going to make the playoffs this year.
I agree with that.
But Detroit now has expectations, which they haven't had. And so let me see you do it with expectations. It's easy as the underdog, Coach, where nobody, you're going in there, nothing to lose, you start getting expectations on you, and it can change things. So, but look, so there's a stretch there, Coach. They go, Eagles have Cowboys at home, so that's a playoff team. On the road at Chiefs, Bills at home. Then they play Niners at home, on the road to Cowboys, on the road to Seahawks, Giants at home. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games against playoff teams last year. And like if you look at it, the Niners, Chiefs, Bills, that's like the top 3 of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league.
Right. What's up, Angela? Listen, I already got the game booked for the Giants. I'll be out in Vegas. See you guys.
What's going on, Angela?
So I can't wait.
What is it, November?
November 10th.
Nice.
So it should be, and I tell you what, I am and I just lost where I was going. So go ahead. Because
I'm was that the Raiders game or what? You just completely lost it.
I completely just lost where I was going. I wasn't going to actually get into the Raiders game yet, but I was just telling Angela, hey, I'm going to be out there, so I can't wait. I had such a great time with those guys up in New York last time, so I can't wait when we're in their house. How much like it's going to be even like up a couple of notches. That was a road game.
Right.
For them.
And that's what Eagles and Giants, Coach. So they play on Christmas, and then they play 2 weeks later too to end the season.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Thank you.
Okay.
It was. But why are you playing? You have 18 weeks. You got to play them 3 weeks twice within 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't understand. And it's at the end of the season.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I mean, come on, man. That just ain't. I just don't agree with the way that works out.
Games out too, because to me, it could be a time where you have an injury, and now a division team is getting the jump on you. What could benefit them is if the Eagles are off to a good start and have something locked up, that could be good for the Giants. You know what I mean? But
you're right.
We'll see. Sammy brought up it should have been Baltimore versus Cincy. Which, hey, good point. Baltimore should have had that win and didn't. But I think it should have been Eagles Chiefs. I mean, I know they're not playing week 1, but look, after that great Super Bowl, I mean, it's pretty easy. Another thing I don't understand what the NFL did, Coach, they put the Chiefs-Dolphins game. It was supposed to be in KC, and they moved it to, I don't know if it's London or where it is, but come on, you got Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City.
Right.
Why would you do that? Like, that's a great storyline. And plus, there's been a lot of trash talk going on there.
Yep.
Like, I don't get it. So we'll see. But look, the Eagles got a tough schedule. They're going to need to get off to a good start because of that schedule getting so tough late. But, I just think they're the best team in the NFC. I think them and the Niners are kind of close. But after that, I think it's a drop. It really is. And what I'm going to like is, look, after that gauntlet, in December and November they're playing, that's going to prepare you for the playoffs. Because last year,
I agree.
Coach, they were great, but I said they weren't going to win a Super Bowl because it worried me that they didn't play any good, any tough teams. And I think that showed up in the Super Bowl with the second half they did, and obviously getting out.
Yeah, you played. I mean, the playoffs were kind of. I mean, come on, you played against a no quarterback in the NFC Championship. I mean, and the Giants probably weren't ready to be there yet. I'll put it that way, because obviously they beat a Fugazi Viking team that was just, Fugazi. So
Coach, Giants got a tough schedule to start. They really do.
listen, and I'm going to get into that here. Listen, of course, as always, and I really am kind of getting old about the Cowboys. Open
Right.
up with the Cowboys at home, then we got to go to Arizona, to the 49ers, and I believe the Giants are going to stay out there. There was talk they were going to stay out there that week for those games.
Right.
Then you're
Home against Seahawks.
the Seahawks at home, the
Then
Dolphin
in Miami, where it
yeah,
can be hot
in Miami. That's the other game I'm going to, 23rd.
Right.
There. Then the Bills. Is that at the Bills? I can't
Yeah, at the Bills.
At the Bills, then home for Washington. Technically, you're away for the Jets, so the Giants actually get an extra home game. Technically,
Giants are the home team in that game.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then they're at the Raiders.
Yeah.
Then at the Cowboys, back to the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Home for the Patriots, Packers, at the Saints, at the Eagles, home for the Rams, and then home for the Eagles. I mean, you got some you got one, you got that stretch too where the Giants, they got to play, obviously the Bills, Dolphins, Seahawks, 49ers. That first stretch there is really I think is a gauntlet.
And early on too, I don't like NFC East games in the first week either. But that's what I'm saying. That week one, Coach, it's such an important game.
Right.
People can sit there and say, oh, it's week one. But look, if they start 0-1, yeah, you'll beat the Cardinals. But then you're at the Niners. You get Seahawks at home, another tough game that could factor into playoff positioning. Then you go at the Dolphins, at the Bills. I mean, at Niners, at Dolphins, at Bills by the middle of October. I mean, that's tough. I mean, and two, like you said, at Dolphins, you could have some warm weather there, which could affect guys, from the Northeast. I mean, it's tough. The only thing that's good for the Giants is if they have a half decent record after that Jets game, you go Raiders, at the road at the Cowboys, but then the Commanders, Patriots, Packers, Saints, all winnable games.
Right.
2 games against the Eagles there, but then the Rams too. They could really get going down the stretch.
Right. I agree with you there. I do. We'll definitely see. And I think the Giants, like I said, I've been ecstatic about the Giants draft. Offensively anyway. Defense, I still think we need a linebacker. I mean, we did sign some free agents that are a little long in the tooth, but I think now really Daniel Jones, the excuse of the offensive line is over. So now you have a receiver. You have probably one of the top 3 tight ends in the league. I think I saw he was ranked number 4, I think, in the league in Darren Waller. And everybody forgets that Wan'Dale Robinson's coming back. That dude was pretty fantastic last year as a rookie before he got hurt. So we'll see. And it's and Saquon, is it, what's the deal? You turned down money and now you're going to complain? You had your opportunity to make money and you turned it down.
Coach, one thing I don't like either, look, Saquon had a great year, but he's got to remember, they could easily say, well, what about the 2 years prior to that? And no matter what, you got to look at the trends of the league, and the big contracts for running backs just don't work.
Right.
And especially a guy like him, who 2 of the previous 3 years was pretty much meaningless for your team. Right. And now you want to get paid? And I'm telling you, Coach, I'm not giving him more than 3 years. Absolutely not. And I don't think I'm giving him $15 million a year. I might do 2 years or 3 years with a year and a half guaranteed. I'm not even doing 2 full guaranteed years. I mean,
I think I saw Giants actually offered him a $14 million a year deal, and he turned it down.
Yeah. Well, he's lost his mind because, there's just not many running backs that are going to get it now. You're just not going to see it. One thing too, Coach, I thought was interesting. I looked at, so they put all the over-unders for wins out, and the Giants are only 8.5. And two, you get money for that. So that's telling you Vegas thinks it's more leaning towards under 8.5 because they're plus 140 on that than over 8.5.
Right.
So very interesting, coach. That's a low number for the Giants coming off a playoff bid.
Yeah, for you're right. It is 14 million more than he's worth. I agree.
Well,
I would have let him walk. I would have
coach,
traded him when we could have.
but let me say this though too. That's part of the problem with paying Danny Jones like they did, because I bet he's looking and say, "Well, you gave him 40 million, and I'm more important to this team." And there's not many times a running back can say that over a quarterback.
You're
I
right.
think he is, and he wants to get paid. I mean, I don't agree with his positioning either because I don't think he's got a leg to stand on. And like I said too, he's had some injury concerns. But the Danny Jones things don't help because everybody thinks they overpaid him.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I think we overpaid Daniel Jones. Hey, go out. I would have said go out and get yourself some money. We'll and try and match it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean? And I
look what
just
everybody
think
said
that
about the Dak contract, coach, that he got overpaid and it was going to affect them. And, look, they lost Amari Cooper. Dak hasn't lived up to it. Now they're talking about another extension for him. I'm like, absolutely not. Because to me, I think, because this is Dak's last year, I think, or maybe he's got one more. But I know they can get out of the contract after this year. To
right.
me, this is a prove-it year for Dak. And if he doesn't do it, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm moving on. He's had some injuries. Last year he was not very good. Like, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you need more consistent play out of your quarterback.
Yep. Because I still think the Giants could have went and got a serviceable running back out there and paid him $9 million and
Yeah.
been moved on with our day.
The one thing I'm kind of surprised, coach, because I think too, I know you like Danny Jones, and look, his running aspect does bring a little. But I don't know that I don't go to, like a guy like Garoppolo or maybe Carr to see what they can do, because I don't know about Danny Jones. I mean, let's see. I do like Dable, and you got to give him his time. And look, he must be seeing something he's not an idiot. So, but
absolutely. And look, they went out and they put the pieces around him, and they went out and fixed the offensive line. So, let's
the only thing I'll say, coach, I like some of the pieces they got, but Waller is, I don't know. I question his toughness a little bit. He's always kind of having these nagging injuries. I wonder about that. And the only thing I don't like, they don't have that. You look at all these big teams, coach, they have the guy at receiver.
Yep.
They have got some guys at receiver, not the guy at receiver. And that's what worries me a little bit about him. Because, look, the Eagles went and did it for Hurts. All these really good teams now. And that's why receivers are getting $100 million contracts.
Well, I listen.
The guy.
And there were the Hyatt, the kid they got from Tennessee in the third round.
I know, coach. You can't count on a rookie to be the guy.
Listen. There was a lot of talk that he wasn't going to be there in the first round.
Yeah.
When the Giants, were going to pick. So for them to get
him in the second, if the center wasn't there.
Right. So I mean, I'm not saying he's Lamar, he's Chase or one of the Jefferson or one of those guys.
Right.
But you know what? He is about 6 steps up from what we've had at receiver there since Daniel Jones is there.
Well, you got to see it on the field. And
well, let's look on paper. You're right, because look, Kenny Golladay was 5 or 6 steps up. Finally, and then that dude never, he has 1 touchdown catch in his time with the Giants, and that was from a 3rd string quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and two, with receivers, you just look, come on, you're talking to the guy, Freddie Mitchell, Jalen Reagor, all these guys we've drafted that just didn't work out. But usually with a receiver, you can tell early if they got it. Like with Devontae Smith, you could see it, So you'll know early. The only thing that worries me is Danny Jones is their quarterback, because I think you're not going to see as much, passing. They're going to be a run-first team and, make it where Danny's got to make a few plays. And I think they're going to try to expand his role this year because they have to.
Right.
It's too basic what they did last year. And what they did last year, you can win games, but you're not going to win in the playoffs.
I agree with that. but I look at it this way is, this is kind of what Dable wanted to do in Buffalo, but they just didn't have a running game. They were able to offset a lot of that with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And you saw Josh Allen, he took that big step. And I think you're hoping that Daniel Jones takes that step now too.
Well, and look what happened when he took that big step, Coach. He got Stephon Diggs.
Right.
Now, just like Hurts, Allen improved, Hurts improved. But in their big years, they also got number one receivers to come along. And then it makes the whole team better because their guy who was their number one before is now a complementary piece and more in their role that they should be. It makes the whole team better.
Yeah. I agree. We'll see. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. And, listen, I got to say, because now Robert Mitchell, shout out to him, man. My man, undrafted free agent with the Browns, made it through rookie camp and is on his way to OTAs in next week. So pretty excited, keeping their eye on Cleveland, so to speak here, so I told him, I said, I got to get one of your jerseys to hang up behind me.
Yeah.
So,
and those stories are always good to hear too. You know what I mean? Those are the guys you root for.
And because I got a little bit of a bone to pick. We have a new 3-letter sports network down here at the beach, and based out of Maryland, so they're Maryland heavy. I get it. But you had a kid from the Delaware quarterback who went to high school here in Delaware and signed as a free agent with the Ravens. Okay, great. You did a great piece on him, but you're the Delmarva Sports Network, and there's their name. Smyrna's not in Delmarva, as far as I'm concerned. And you did a great piece, but you had a kid here in Delmarva that went as an undrafted free agent as well, and you did zero for him, zero.
Coach just switched. They didn't want the Coach Muddle show on the network.
Listen, I'm really annoyed the kid's high school couldn't even put out any press release about it or anything. I'm really upset about that fact. And Professor will tell you, because I've been banging the drum since the draft about him, because the kid is it's a huge story. I mean, listen, the kid was one of those guys that the switch came on a little late. And when that switch came on, man, you see obviously where it took him. And because just like, listen, just like any other guy, he could have made a wrong turn and been in a bad spot, but hey, he got himself to where he's at. He put in the work and he got there, and he deserves some recognition is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So, so I'm just poo-pooing on everyone else who's not putting it out there. He should be getting some press.
Yeah.
So,
and that's hard for those guys too, because you got to show so much on the field too. I mean, you got to stand out basically for those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And hey, look, you go to the Cleveland Browns website right now. There's a bunch of pictures of him from the rookie weekend of him working out and doing that stuff.
Coach,
so
a lot of people look good in shorts and t-shirts. You know what I mean?
Hey, you're right. Hey, everybody is an All-American against air. I say it. Look, everybody's an All-American against air. Everybody is, but but still, it's a the guy's busted his hump and he's made it to where he's at. And congratulations to him, because and it's funny how everybody thinks how it all works. Oh man, he's made it. He's going to make all this money. The dude's on a per diem. He's only getting paid for the days he's in camp.
Well, yeah, the big thing is getting on a team,
right?
At least at the very minimum, being on a practice squad,
right?
Then I think you make over $100,000 a year. I think.
You make $365.
On a practice squad?
Yeah, practice squad guys make $365 for the year.
So I mean, you have a couple years of that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're the 53 man, the minimum is like what, $750 or something.
Right.
So
look, and regardless for him, got a lot to be proud of. There's not even guys that are in this position. You know what I
Right.
mean? He's
Right.
already stuck himself out as like, top level of the top level. You know what I mean?
Listen,
So
you have a 1% shot.
yeah,
1%. So
it might be
there
lower
you
than
go.
that, Coach. It might be lower than that.
No, I did actually do some the
Oh, you
research.
did the math, Coach. Is that what you're going to
I
say?
did the research. I did it, and
Now, Angela, I think
that's
he's saying 365,000 a year for practice squad.
yes,
Unless
practice
you're
squad.
saying, yeah, but that's not bad. I would do
No,
that.
yeah.
Like these
Look,
punters,
who
man.
wouldn't do that? I mean, come
I
on, man.
know.
That's
Like, think about these punters and kickers, man, that get, and now too, you don't even have to go down on kickoff. Now they're gonna let you do fair catches to be able to get to the 25-yard line. I mean, they get millions of dollars to kick a football.
Yep.
I should have been a kicker instead of an all-defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Like the hefty lefty for kickers.
Come on, man.
Now, Coach, what's your outlook for the year for football this year? What do you? Because I mean, I think it's going to be. I mean, look, I say it every year, but I think it's really exciting this year. I mean, the AFC is just a traffic jam of very good teams. Like I said, we got 3 good teams in the AFC East. I mean, even the Patriots, obviously a good team. The AFC North, really excited to see what the Steelers do. I mean, obviously, you need to keep TJ Watt because he's the difference for that defense. When you
Yeah,
have TJ
absolutely.
Watt, that defense is very good. But, look, they get Salamalu from the Eagles on a 3-year, $24 million deal. Obviously, he's a Pro Bowl caliber lineman. They draft Broderick Jones at tackle. Can Kenny Pickett take his game to the next level and get the Steelers going? Because there's talent there. So I'm interested to see what they do. But look, obviously AFC North really good. Steelers, Ravens, Bengals. You have another year here at Watson with the Browns. What happens with the Jaguars. And then obviously the AFC West really loaded. What's going on with the Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and then what does Peyton do in Denver? So the AFC is just going to be wild to me.
I agree. I mean, because like you said, I think the AFC East is like a coin flip for all 4 teams. I mean,
Yeah.
all 4 of them could easily win that division.
Yeah.
And I think really the AFC South is kind of the bottom of the barrel there. But I mean, the Jags it's kind of we'll see, can they put two years in a row together.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, the Texans got to put some pieces in place.
They're heading the right direction finally.
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, I think they got the best quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that out of the 3 quarterbacks that went in the top, I think he's the guy that's going to be the better of the 3.
Well, I think Bryce Young might be right now in the better situation, though, because he's in the NFC South. I mean, because to me, the NFC South, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not big on, what's his name? Is it Ritter for the Falcons, the quarterback? Desmond Ritter, or is that what it is? The kid from Cincinnati, who's the quarterback for the Falcons. I'm not big on him. So I think that division's going to the Saints or the Panthers. I actually like the Panthers.
Yeah, I agree. I like Frank Reich. I think he's a great he is a quarterback whisperer. So I think he is in a great situation to be in too. So Angela, I don't think we
CJ
said
Stroud. He didn't say his name. He's saying CJ Stroud with the Texans.
Yeah,
right?
I think CJ Stroud I think was the best out of the 3 quarterbacks. It was my
Coach knows nothing about quarterbacks.
because
Bryce Young's probably the best. So, but no, and then the NFC to me, I think is much more defined. I mean, you got the Rams and the Seahawks. The Seahawks and the Niners. I don't think the Rams and Cardinals are going to be good this year. I don't think an NFC South team can really make a run. Obviously, we'll have a playoff team, which I think obviously is the Panthers, if not probably the Saints. And then the NFC North, I think, is the Lions division. But I don't think there's a team in that division that can be in contention for the NFC title yet. And then, you got the NFC East where, you got 3 good teams with Eagles, Giants, and Cowboys.
Right.
Obviously, I think the Eagles are the team. But that's what I'm saying. So to me, you look at it and it's like, I think Eagles and Niners are just another level. And then there's that next level. And it's like Lions, Seahawks, maybe Cowboys.
How do you not put the Giants in that?
I was going to, but I think they're on the bottom thing. I think the Lions are better. I think, and it's because of Danny Dimes, Coach. If you guys had a better quarterback, it would be different. I just don't. And look, maybe he can prove me wrong this year, but I'm taking Jared Goff over Danny Dimes right now. He looked good down the stretch.
Yeah, he did. I agree. I mean, and look, everybody forgets the dude has Super Bowl experience. The kid played in the Super Bowl.
If you protect Goff and run the football with him, which when he was good, that's what the Rams were doing. He's a very good quarterback. I mean, he finished the year 16 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, like I said, right now, he might be a top 3 quarterback in the NFC. I mean, now look, it's not like there's a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFC,
right.
But to me, going off last year, I mean, there's a lot of questions about Stafford. I'm going Hurts 1, Geno 2, or maybe Goff 2, and then Geno or Goff 3. I mean, I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins really. Jordan Love is
unknown. We don't know, right?
Dak is just too inconsistent. Purdy, really good in his first stretch of games, but obviously got hurt. You wonder when he's going to start the season. They're saying he should be ready for game 1, but how it is, Coach. Now he's got to prove it.
Right.
I think he's going to be okay, but let's see if he can repeat what he did last year. That's the big question.
Yeah, that is he going to have the rookie hangover?
Yeah.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah, it can happen, Coach. I mean, obviously, we've always said, and I always say, that's why the situation you're in is so important. I mean, the guy who was Mr. Irrelevant last year has the best quarterback year for any rookie. You know what I mean? And it's because he was on the Niners, who were a playoff team already with a great coordinator who puts his quarterback in positions to win.
Right. And they ran the football, and they added, they even went out and got even a better back, and
Coach, it's not even like he's a placeholder though. I mean, he had great stats last year. It wasn't like he came in and like Jimmy G threw 8 passes in the NFC Championship and was like, barely had to do anything. For what he played, he was a top 3 quarterback down the stretch in the games he played. He was really good. I mean, a lot of people forget about that and think like, he's just some guy. I mean, yeah, he had a 13 TDs, 4 interceptions, 67% completion percentage, 5-0 down. I mean, he was really good last year. So we'll see what happens. And his quarterback rating was 107.3.
Right.
I mean, that's really good, especially for a rookie. And to get thrown in what he got thrown into, where you're going in with a team with Super Bowl aspirations, Coach. And you have a rookie ahead of you, and then Jimmy G, you're the 3rd string quarterback. You're probably thinking, I ain't playing this year. Right. And then you get that, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going in. And that's another thing the league did too, Coach. They finally changed it, which me and you talked about because of the NFC Championship. Now teams are going to be able to say who the emergency quarterback is for the 3rd quarterback, just in case 2 quarterbacks get hurt in one game.
Right. It should be. The guy should be able to, suit up on Sunday. And if they need him, he comes in the game. You shouldn't have to have a running back play quarterback or a receiver. Right. I think that's just ridiculous, man.
And that's what I hate about the sports leagues. They need something dramatic to happen for them to change stuff. And that's what happened. You had an NFC Championship game that pretty much got ruined. And now you got to make changes. Just like with officiating. They're going to need to, in a baseball game, have some baller strike screw up a World Series, and then they're going to say, all right, now we're going to go do this.
Right.
I'm waiting for that to happen, too.
Yeah, we're not getting automatic balls and strikes.
Yes,
I'm
they
sorry.
are.
No.
Have to.
Can't. They're professional hitters, man. They're professional hitters, man.
Yeah, but still. Yeah, but you have umpires that have different zones. You got clowns like you who can't see straight that are playing, are the ump. Or they're getting a couple belts before the game like Coach does. It's just too inconsistent. And it too, Coach. Like, just one pitch. Go look at the differences in a 2-1 count and a 1-2 count. So if you miss that one pitch in a big game, it's important. Like it is. If you got a 2-1 count, you're hitting like 350, 400, to where if it's 1-2, you're under 200. I mean, That's a huge difference.
I still think but you need it because you need the variety from the umpire because they are professional hitters. An automatic, you tell Aaron Judge, here's strikes. They know that. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't have to swing at that pitch.
yeah.
That
So
I
and
already
then it's
know.
automated. But why do you want some ump who's going to come out when it's 3 feet outside and they're calling a strike?
But
Why
he's
would you
not
want them?
calling it 3 feet outside.
Yeah,
But
that happens. Maybe not 3 feet, but it happens where you see it, Coach. Don't tell me you haven't seen plenty that are way off the plate, and you're like, "What the? What was that?" And it happens a lot.
But all right,
Coach is just trying to look out for his fellow umpires. Him and Cowboy Joe West over here. Doesn't want to see his fellow umpires lose their jobs.
No, but I just also I don't think that being automated, they're professional hitters, man. They're professionals.
What's that have to do with anything?
Because they will hit every strike that you throw.
But they're not professional umpires. They suck. They don't know a strike zone. So why not just they know where the zone is. They'll know where it is with automated. You don't know where it is with an umpire because every umpire's freaking strike zone is different.
All right.
Well, I mean, am I wrong?
All right. Well,
but your strike zone and my strike zone might be two different things.
You're absolutely right. They are.
And yours is probably got a golf and then hit stuff 3 feet over your head when you're young.
No, listen. Here's what I say. No, listen. I tell them.
Balls and strikes
I don't. I'm not going to make you swing over your head. I'm not going to make you swing in the dirt, but you better swing the bat because I am calling strikes. I do have a big zone. I have it. You're damn right I do. Because I'm not sitting there all day because they're kids. They're kids. They're not. I'm not going to sit here all day with kids with the bat on their shoulder because they're going to wait for him to throw a strike. Not going to happen.
So Angelo said he thinks the Dolphins are good enough to make a run if Goff is healthy. He loves their roster. Eagles are no doubt best team in the NFC. They are scary. No, I agree. I think the Lions.
The Lions.
Dolphins. I made a mistake. I actually have the Lions as the third best team in the NFC. About umps, Angela. I think that baseball should, because obviously you see how they put the box up every game. I think they should have balls and strikes called by the computer. Coach wants to have it by the umpires, and I'm just tired of umpires. They suck. And, Coach is an umpire, so.
Who you 100% agree with what?
The Lions. They're the third best team in the NFC. And they do have expectations this year, so I want to see how
and I'm telling you, the Lions are like the Browns of 2 or 3 years ago, because I forget that. Remember when we talked about, man, the Browns are so good. They are a quarterback away. They've got all this talent.
Right.
And again, when the expectation was put on them, they crapped the bed.
Well, the one thing I think is different, though, is the AFC is so tough. The NFC is more wide open. The division, they got the Browns, the Vikings, Packers with Rodgers going. I just think it's more favorable for them. And 2, they got a top 5 offensive line. You got, obviously you draft a kid at running back. And I don't like what the Lions did in the draft.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I'd have went more defensive and kept Swift.
Because I think Swift. I think the Eagles really gotta steal. I thought the Swift was one of the top backs in the NFC.
The Lions did add C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They did get the corner Emmanuel Mosley from the Niners to add to that secondary. And then they got another safety too in the second round that I liked out of Alabama, Branch. So they did some things I do like. If that defense can get going and playing, they don't need to be the top 5, but if it can be a top 10 to 12 type defense with their offense, the Lions are going to be really good. They are. Yeah,
no, we are kind of sleeping on the Bears. The Bears were kind of turning things around a little bit at the end of the year. They were getting the quarterback was kind of
all the quarterback though, Coach, running all around.
Yes.
Their offensive line's not great, and I don't know that they got the receivers on the outside yet,
Yeah, we'll see. But I think I really think the Lions, I really would put it this way: Lions, Bears, Packers, or Vikings, Packers is if I was ranking that division right now.
Yeah, and Angelo too. They also got Branch, the safety from Alabama, who was a top 20
Yeah.
on a lot of guys' boards. I was actually looking for the Eagles to possibly draft him.
I thought that's where they were going because I figured they were getting their front end guy and then their back end guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is setting up for the Eagles, and they went a different direction, but still,
Well, they love pass rushers, obviously, Coach.
yeah,
And that's
yeah, but it's in the league. You got to have them. You can't have it. Never have enough.
Look at the Super Bowls you won. You guys had a ton of pass rushers,
Yep.
and one of the most important players, in my opinion, to the Giants this year is Thibodeau. I mean, he
Yeah.
really showed some flash last year, and if he can come in, he's going to help make that defense a lot different. Just like I said with the Steelers, when TJ Watt's on the field, he's just a game changer, and he takes that Steelers defense from good to great. You know what I mean? And he just wreaks havoc on quarterbacks.
Absolutely. So let's just I'll give everybody a heads up. We're probably gonna go on our little break, and we'll come back, when football starts again.
Yeah.
Really, probably in August, right around week 1 of training camp, maybe, or getting close up to the week of thing. But if I do make it out to Cleveland, out there, I probably will do a little remote from Cleveland if I make it up. So and
Angela, what do you got the Raiders at this year? What's their
where do you got the Raiders doing?
I look
this
at
year,
their
Angela?
schedule, and to me, they're from like 7 to 9 wins. They got a tough schedule.
Well, come on, they got and really they got Tom Brady's minority owner now. So
I was surprised about that too, Coach.
I agree. I thought Kraft, if anybody, would have gave him Tom a piece.
Can you imagine in Philly or New York if like some guy that we pretty much hated and they're gonna let him buy ownership into the team? I mean, that's one of the huge plays in Raiders history, and like it's just like what Mark Davis just makes you do shit. It's just like, huh? What, dude? Like I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think of somebody who really like. You're imagine Emmitt Smith trying to buy a piece of the Eagles. He's be like, what? They still mess with Troy Aikman up in the booth every game that he's there. Saying shit to him, and 12-5. I was gonna say, yeah. A little liquid courage, Angela.
Oh man,
yeah, that would be something else for them. I mean, I think their best case scenario is like 10-7, but I'm leaning more towards like 7 or 8 wins because now with Denver too and Peyton, I just think he's going to stabilize that organization. I really do.
Yeah, because I mean, if you remember, now Denver did get rid of some pieces last year too, but they weren't that far away from
their defense is top 5.
Yeah, but they got rid of the pass rusher. What's his name?
Chubb.
Sent him to the Dolphins. So
yeah, still got a great secondary though.
Battle for third again. Okay.
Might be a battle for fourth with Denver. We'll see. But you never know with the Chargers either.
Right. You never know. So, but all right, everyone. We appreciate you coming. Angela, I appreciate you hanging out. It's been awesome. We'll have to actually bring you on air and let you hang out. Would be awesome.
You can talk about the possum that's loose in the A's stadium. Do you know about that? They couldn't broadcast one of the games because there was a possum loose in the booth where they broadcast.
Oh man. And but all good. We have no possums in this booth here, so we're okay. And we'll everyone have a great, safe summer and get ready for some football. Be good, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Share it with your friends, and we'll see you when football starts. Later.